Welcome to our practice of opening and nourishing the heart and the lungs, as well as the lymphatic pathways that run in the neck and into the chest. And when we experience emotions like sadness or grief or anything that sits a little tight in our chest, we tend to sort of close in and protect. And that can give us a sense of stuckness in our emotional patterns, in our daily experience, and ultimately in the connective tissue. So what we're going to do today is sort of open and free all of this area up a little bit. And when we open into the area of the chest and the rib cage, the energetic heart can rise up and lift, and therefore express itself more openly in the world. We're going to begin the practice with a breathing exercise called the Viloma breath, and you're going to stretch out on your mat for that. I'm going to stay seated for a while just because I realized that the microphone works a little bit better this way. So come down and lengthen yourself out onto your mat. You can straighten the legs or keep the knees bent if that feels better for your lower back. And then you can shuffle the hips from side to side. So you're creating some spaciousness around the sacral bone. And it's just an openness in the lower back. And also allowing your neck to rest in neutral. So you want to be resting on the back of your skull as well as the upper back, with the chin neither too arched or too tucked, so that the vertebrae of the neck are free from the floor. Good, so come on down. Allow your eyes to close for a few moments. And just take a few rounds of a normal breath. See if you can breathe through the center of the rib cage. See if you can breathe circumferentially through the entire rib cage. And we're going to intersect the breath or breathe in stages, which I'm going to guide you through. Begin with a complete exhale, emptying the lungs out. Take a breath in from the base of your pelvis up to the lower ribs to about 50% of your lung capacity, and then hold the breath in. Completely exhale. Taking another breath into about 50% full from the base of your pelvis to the lower ribs. Exhale completely. Inhale to 50% full from the base of the pelvis to the lower ribs and hold. And then take another sip of air in from the lower ribs to about underneath the collarbones. And then hold the air in at about 75% of your lung capacity. And exhale all the way. Another breath in to about 50% of your breath capacity. Hold. Take another sip of air in to 75% full to underneath the collarbones. And then exhale completely. This time breathing in from the base of your pelvis up towards the navel only to about 25% of your breath capacity, and hold the air in. Take another sip of air in, 50% full from your navel to your ribs. Hold. Last sip of air in to 75% full to underneath the collarbones. And completely exhale. Last one, inhale to 25% full. Base of the pelvis to the navel. Hold. Another sip of air into 50% full from the navel to the lower ribs. Hold the air in. And then to 75% full, hold the breath in. Keep holding the air in, but now relax the entire body back. And exhale completely. Just allowing normal breath flow. Noticing any energetic shifts, any emotional shifts, any changes in breath capacity. With your next exhalation, take a gentle tuck in of the lower belly from the base of the pelvis up towards the navel, and then pull up one knee at a time into the chest. I'm going to join you now. So with the spine still in neutral, crossing the shins, hold on to your feet or ankles, and then gently hug the thighs in towards you. Relax the shoulders, soften the abdomen, and then you can gently rock from side to side, rolling across the tissue of the upper back, the tissue at the back of the heart and the back of the lungs, and then crossing the shins the other way. Let your lower back release to the mat. Feel the gentle release to the outside of the hips, glutes, and then rolling across the tissue of the back. And let the shoulders and the neck gently rock with you. Good, and then slowly return to center. Swing yourself over onto your left hand side. Place the knees more or less in line with your hips. And then turn the chest towards the front of the mat. You can stay up onto your palms. Draw the navel and the collarbones forward. Maybe come down to the elbows. And if it feels good, you can lengthen the chest all the way forward. Place the forehead down. And for a little bit of a bringing into the lymphatic system running along the neck, you can, for a gentle twist, either look to the same side as your knees or turn the opposite side and slowly place the head down. And slowly come back up. Lift yourself onto your left elbow. Push away from the floor so the side body engages. Knees are still more or less in line with your hips. And you're going to lift that top leg up. You can flex the foot. I carry a lot of tension in the ankles sometimes, so I like to keep my feet relaxed. But lift the leg just high enough so you feel a bit of an activation around the outer hip and the glute. Your right hand can stay in front of you. And by pulling in through the belly and the rib cage, you're going to create a little bit of a stabilization or resistance into opening up into a twist. So pull the knee forward, draw the elbow back, ring around the central spine, take the throat back, back of the head is lifting. And then as you inhale, you're going to reach out through the front arm, through the back leg, lift the hip up, push through the bottom arm, inhale. And then exhale, pull the belly and the ribs in, twist. Inhale to reach. Exhale to pull in. You can completely move at your own pace. The slower you go, the more access you have to the connective tissue. I'm just making the movement really conscious. Do 2 more. Inhale. Exhale to twist. Inhale. Exhale, twist. And release. Swap over to the other side. Place the knees up more or less in line with the hips. Turn the chest forward. With the navel forward, collarbones reach out. And then softening through the spine as you come further down. Find a good position for your neck. And then breathe into the back of the ribs, back of the lungs. slowly come on up. Right forearm comes down. Good. Left hand in front of you, lift the knee up. Find the engagement of your hip and the glute. And then pull in through the belly and the rib cage. Ring yourself open. Inhale to lengthen. Make sure you're not rolling forwards or backwards in the hips. Keep them level. Exhale to pull in. A little bit unstable on the side, so notice any asymmetries in the body. None of us are symmetric. But it's good to sort of be aware of that and working towards balancing our unequal sides. Inhale, 2 more. Exhale, twist. Inhale, reach. Exhale, pulling it. Good. Release. And make your way forward onto hands and knees. Knees under the hips, palms underneath the shoulders. Press down through thumb, index finger, middle finger, which also connect to the inner lining of the arm, which is the lung line in Chinese medicine. And we're applying pressure to the inner line of the palm, the inner arm, which runs all the way up to underneath the collarbones. And by applying pressure into the area of the arms, the chest, we are stimulating the lymphatic system around this area. Get a few rounds of a flexion and extension of the spine. So keep pressuring down through the palms, roll the collarbones forward, lift to the back of the skull, and then exhale, tuck in through the hips. Pull the belly in, front ribs in, side ribs in, press, send the crown of the head forward and round the back. Inhale to lengthen back. Exhale to pull in. Pressure down through the hands, hollow the armpits out. Inhale. Moving nice and slow. Exhale to pull in. Stimulating the spinal fluid. Running up from the base of your spine, the base of your sacrum, up into the back of your cranium and the skull. Last one. Exhale, pulling in. Good. From here, you're going to prepare for downward facing dog, pressing down through thumb, index finger, middle finger, tuck all 10 toes under. Your thighs are going to pull up into the hip sockets, so you can already hover the knees off slightly. Keep your upper torso rather forward, armpits hollow out, push away from the floor. Send the head forward, skull forward, and then you're going to lift up, belly pulls in, lengthen your downward facing dog a little. And keep the knees bent, keep the heels lifted, keep lifting your thigh bones up, sitting bones high. Outer hip bones back and apart, inner thighs moving back. And then with the hands pressing forward into the mat, front ribs pull in, side ribs contract. You can start to melt your heart forward into your head and release the crown of the head down. Deep, steady breaths. Breathe through the back of the lungs. Good. And bend the knees even more. Lift the hips, look forward. I'm going to step your left foot forward. I like to shift the left hip and the left hand a little in. So if you're sensitive around the lower back, this makes it a little easier. And also if you just feel a little stuck in your hips, you can sort of swing the hip in from the outside and step the foot down. Good. Lower the back knee to the floor. You can untuck the toes if that's okay for your knee. And then push down through the front foot. Come up high onto your fingertips. For a moment, reach the collarbones forward. And then place your left hand to your left thigh. Apply pressure through the foot and the hand to stabilize the shoulder, to stabilize the hip. And then you're going to initiate a twist, twisting deep into the center of the belly to rotate through the ribcage. You can stay here if this feels plenty for you, or you might want to reach the front arm back and reach for your back foot. Maybe you need a belt, strap, scarf, anything like that to help you loop and reach for your foot. And I really love this pose because it's so many poses in one. We've got a lunge, we've got a deep twist, and we're going to move into a back bend. Bend the back elbow, take the ribs in, take the chest back, throw it back, lift to the back of the skull, and then open the collarbones up towards the sky. Maybe lunge a little deeper into the hips. Just make sure you're not hanging in your hip joints, but stabilizing by pushing away from the floor. And slow release. We're going to come up to reverse warrior from here. So spin the back heel to the mat. Traditionally, we place front heel in line with back arch. I like to have a little more of an athletic stance with the foot a little to the side, making it more spacious in the hips. And you're going to come all the way up. There's so many variations of this pose for the arms, so you can choose whatever works for you, but find the stability in the legs. Inner thighs move in and back. Let the front palm reach up, roll the shoulder back, and then reach back. Take the left rib cage a little in and back. This is a side stretch, not a back bend. Anchor down through your sink. Your front hip bones pull in towards each other to stabilize through the lower belly. And then reach and breathe. Slowly come back down. Step back. Downward facing dog. Take a full breath in. Complete breath out. Bend the knees, shift weight into the palms, look forward. Again, you might want to shift that right hand a little in for the right hip. And then swing the foot. Good. Lower to your back knee. Good. Make sure you're pushing down through the front foot. Stabilizing the hips. You can come onto the fingertips again for a brief moment, lift the chest. Make sure you have spaciousness around the lower back. You can untuck back toes, right hand to your right side, press away, deep rotation into the rib cage, twisting around the central axis of the spine. Good. Reaching front arm back, open up. Maybe reach for your back foot, or use something to help you reach. Keep pushing away from the floor gently, and then go in through the belly, in through the ribs, rotate open. Slight bend in this back elbow. Now again, take ribs back, chest back, throat back, head back, lift through the back of the skull. Maybe lunge in a little deeper. And release. Spin back heel in, maybe a little wider than the hips. Come up. Good. Stabilize through the legs. Front knee over ankle, squeeze the inner thighs in and back. Good. Front arm reaches up, lift the shoulder, roll back. Inhale to reach. Right rib cage moves in and back. Steady breath flow. The head back, throat back. Slowly coming down. Downward facing dog. Full breath in. Complete breath out. Come down to child pose for a brief moment. Feet a little apart. Spread the sitting bones back. Rest the forehead down and then come up onto your fingertips. Create a little suction cups with your palms pulling away from the floor, and then bend the elbows ever so slightly out so you broaden into the upper back. Soften into the space between the shoulders. And then breathe through the back of the ribs, spreading the tissue apart in the back, softening into that upper back. Good. Slowly come back forward, hands and knees. Inhale, tuck toes, exhale, downward facing dog. Keep the weight of the body forward. So you somersaulting almost into your downward facing dog. Send the hips up and press through. Good. We're going to move into variations of planking positions. Choose any version that works for you. I'm going to do a rather easy one to make it accessible for oral. So you're going to shift into your right palm. You can either stack the feet top of each other, next to each other, going to swing the foot forward. Good. Stay up on the back foot. Hollow the armpit out. Find your lung line, thumb, index finger, drawing all the way up through the inner arm. Open the chest, collarbones, and then send left arm up. You can look down, look to the side. If your neck is comfortable, you can look up. You can tuck the chin in, pull it in towards your shoulder, and then gaze up along the inner arm. That makes it a lot more easy on the neck. Push away from the floor. Inhale. As we exhale, we're going to twist. So swing left rib cage forward, swing the arm through. Take your eyes with your fingertips. Inhale to open. Exhale to twist. Inhale to open. Exhale, twist. Just repeating a few more times. Slowly teasing the tissue open. Inhale. Exhale. Come back. Downward facing dog. Level through the shoulders, level through the hips. Crown of the head forward. Front ribs in, side ribs in. Good. Swing over to the left. Index finger, thumb down. The shoulder roll back, armpit hollows out. You can choose a variation that works for you. Maybe step the foot forward for better stability. And then lift the hips up. Swing right arm. Pause here for a moment. Spread open through the chest. Find a good position for your neck. You might want to tuck chin to your chest. Roll the chin up along the shoulder, gazing up along the inner arm and then into the palm. Reach a little more through your index finger. Exhale to twist. Swing right rib cage forward, look through. Inhale up. Exhale, twist. Inhale up. Exhale to twist. 3 more. Ringing around the upper spine. Opening through the tissue of the upper back. Exhale. Inhale. Last one. Come back. Downward facing dog or child pose. Allow the breath to steady. Our connective tissue responds a lot better to smaller and softer repetitive movement rather than moving with more force or activity through the bigger muscles and joints. It just doesn't get us that much into the connective tissue and the fascia system. That generally responds much better to both repetitive and slower movement. Conscious breaths. Good. Place your knees down. Very little weight on the knees. Keep the hips rather high. Send the sitting bones back. Outer hip bones back and apart. Strong through the arms. And then collarbones wide. Take the front ribs, side ribs in. Reach the chest forward. Place the chest and the chin down. Nourishing the curves of the spine here. Breathe. And then slowly send the hips back. Hands underneath your forehead. Maybe shift the hips from side to side. And take a few deeper breaths right down into your lower abdomen, into the pelvic bowl. Soften the spine on the exhalation. And see if you can notice a gentle pulsation between the sacrum and the back of the skull. Noticing a continuous conversation between the two, connected by the central channel of the spine, central nervous system, and the spinal fluid moving through. Good, and then from here, you can just bend the knees in. Swing yourself up and then come to lie onto back. Let the inner thighs and the lower belly pull in and up. Bend the knees. And then just swinging the legs over to one side. Take legs to the left and then bring the right arm out to the side. You can keep the head center or again turning it to either side. Just allowing the body to soften and passively release here for a moment. Softening your face, your eyes, your jaw. If the jaw is tight or shut, it can actually inhibit the cranial waves. So see if you can relax into the area of your temples and a little below the temples towards your ears. Where the mandibular joint, the jaw joint connects up into the skull. And then slowly pull up one knee at a time, bring the legs back through center, pausing between both sides for a moment. And then roll across to the other side, placing the legs and the feet on top of each other. And then release left arm out to the side so you're still gently opening through the front of the chest. Feel the release around the tissue of the back of the ribs. And through a twist, you releasing the fascia line running from the lower back all the way up to where they connect to the back of the ribs, the back of the lungs. And then slowly bringing one knee at a time back to center. And then straighten out for your final relaxation. Spaciousness around the lower back. Let the back ribs spread. Sacrum spreads. The abdomen and the belly soften in. Relax down into hands and feet. And allow the entire system to soften and relax. There's really no end to which you can release back into yourself. Allowing a gentle breath flow. And maybe allowing yourself to feel a little exposed or even vulnerable here. Which can be very indicative to opening up, to releasing patterns in the connective tissue that have maybe held us a little bit together. And although that would be a protective and safety response, if we keep holding on to that for too long, we can't really express ourselves freely in the world. We can't open up fully to the expression of feeling free and comfortable in ourselves we can't let go of what doesn't really serve us. And then with that awareness, you can begin to move the hands, the feet, maybe roll the neck from side to side to reconnect to your spine. And then bend the knees in one at a time and turn yourself to either side. Slowly pushing yourself back up into any comfortable seat. Feel yourself rooting down into your ground, into the bowl of your pelvis. And for the heart space to feel safe to express itself, at the same time we need to feel anchored in ourselves, anchored in our body. Taking a few more moments here to acknowledge and appreciate your practice. Assimilating the experience. Allowing the blood pressure to return to normal. And then whenever you feel ready, start drawing the palms up together in front of the chest. And then slowly closing off, you can gently bow your head forward towards your palms. And then slowly opening your eyes and moving out into the rest of your day.